Hello. If you are watching this video, I'm going to assume that you're either a fellow Pastafarian like myself, or at least interested in what the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is and what it has to offer the world. The point of this video is not an attempt to convert you to Pastafarianism, but to explain the truth and reasoning behind the creation of this parody religion. The Pastafarian religion is a simple one. Heaven has beer volcanoes as far as the eye can see, and also a stripper factory. The first creations of the Flying Spaghetti Monster were a mountain, a tree, and a midget. He created this in one day, then rested for 3 days, and created the rest of the universe during the last 3 days of the week. Every Friday is a religious holiday. Humans were not created in his image. He is a perfect being and felt that making all humans perfect would be wrong. Pirates are considered holy beings, but sadly their numbers have declined. And Bobby Henderson, the creator of the church, is considered its prophet. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is another form of creationism. It may not accept the Christian version of God as its creator, but its beliefs are otherwise grounded in as much unprovable fact as any other creationist organization. I would like to start by pointing out that the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is not a real religion in the traditional sense. Yes, the church has a God, has a gospel, and has its followers, but it differs from the usual notion of a religion in one very important way. The followers of the religion know that it's a joke. Perhaps they joined because they were seeking an alternative to organized religion, or perhaps they joined because they disagreed with the movement to teach creationism in public schools. More on that in a moment. But the fact remains that all of its followers understand and proudly acknowledge the church to be a farce. It was intended that way from its conception, and it is meant to make a point about religious belief, not to create a new god that will rival the mainstream religions. The church has received much hate mail, even death threats, from religious people who have not done the sufficient research to determine this simple fact, and these people believe that the church is meant to be a threat to them in their beliefs. This is not the case. The idea for the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster began with a debate within the state of Kansas to include the teaching of creationist beliefs alongside that of evolutionary theory in public school science classrooms. The creationist belief hinges on the Old Testament, specifically the book of Genesis, that states, among other things, that the world as we know it today is about 6,000 years old. Creationist beliefs directly contradict the evidence presented by the theory of evolution, and it is the intention of creationists to have their beliefs taught as an alternative to the theory of evolution. I am not here to debate the merits of either side of the argument, but it should be pointed out that creationists often misuse the word theory when debating against evolution. The word theory in science does not mean a guess or an idea. It means a mathematical or logical explanation, or a testable model of the manner of interaction of a set of natural phenomena capable of predicting future occurrences or observations of the same kind, and capable of being tested through experiment or otherwise falsified through empirical observation. In other words, a testable, predictable bank of knowledge that brings all observed related phenomena together to explain natural events. Creationists often use the word theory in a derogatory sense, saying, evolution is just a theory. But this indicates a misunderstanding of the word. The theory of evolution is an empirically testable explanation for how species came to be in their present form. Creationist beliefs, or intelligent design, are not testable in the same way that evolutionary theory is, and therefore cannot be falsified. This does not mean that intelligent design is right or wrong, but raises suspicion in the minds of academics and scientists, and more grounds for belief among its believers. Back to the Flying Spaghetti Monster. The church came about when Bobby Henderson, a concerned citizen and activist, wrote an open letter to the Kansas School Board presenting the Flying Spaghetti Monster as an alternative creationist theory. This is the letter in full. I am writing you with much concern after having read of your hearing to decide whether the alternative theory of intelligent design should be taught along with the theory of evolution. I think we can all agree that it is important for students to hear multiple viewpoints so they can choose for themselves the theory that makes the most sense to them. I am concerned, however, that students will only hear one theory of intelligent design. Let us remember that there are multiple theories of intelligent design. I and many others around the world are of the strong belief that the universe was created by a flying spaghetti monster. It was he who created all that we see and all that we feel. We feel strongly that the overwhelming scientific evidence pointing towards evolutionary processes is nothing but a coincidence put in place by him. It is for this reason that I'm writing you today, to formally request this alternative theory be taught in your schools along with the other two theories. In fact, I will go so far as to say, if you do not agree to do this, we will be forced to proceed with legal action. I'm sure you see where we are coming from. If the intelligent design theory is not based on faith, but instead another scientific theory as is claimed, then you must also allow our theory to be taught, as it is also based on science, not on faith. Some find that hard to believe, so it may be helpful to tell you a little bit more about our beliefs. We have evidence that a flying spaghetti monster created the universe. None of us, of course, were around to see it, but we have written accounts of it. We have several lengthy volumes explaining all details of his power. Also, you may be surprised to hear that there are over 10 million of us and growing. We tend to be very secretive, as many people claim our beliefs are not substantiated by observable evidence. What these people don't understand is that he built the world to make us think the Earth is older than it really is. For example, a scientist may perform a carbon dating process on an artifact. He finds that approximately 75% of the carbon-14 has decayed by electron emission to nitrogen-14, and infers that this artifact is approximately 10,000 years old, as the half-life of carbon-14 appears to be 5,730 years. But what our scientist does not realize is that every time he takes a measurement, the flying spaghetti monster is there, changing the results with his noodly appendage. We have numerous texts that describe in detail how this can be possible, and the reasons why he does this. He is, of course, invisible, and can pass through normal matter with ease. I'm sure you now realize how important it is that your students are taught this alternative theory. It is absolutely imperative that they realize that observable evidence is at the discretion of a flying spaghetti monster. Furthermore, it is disrespectful to teach our beliefs without wearing his chosen outfit, which of course is full pirate regalia. I cannot stress the importance of this enough, and unfortunately cannot describe in detail why this must be done, as I fear this letter is already becoming too long. The concise explanation is that he becomes